Hello and welcome everyone to Thursday's Lunchtime Chat. The session today is Recover, where we have a bit of a spotlight on Leeds hospitality businesses. It's brought to you as part of Leeds Digital Food Week, which runs all week this week, and by Leeds Indie Food and Welcome to Leeds. I'm Karen Butler from LeedsBID, and I'm joined by Phil Harrison from the Escapism Bar Group, by Katie O'Hara from the Cram Plaza Leeds, and by Wes Topley from Leeds Hotels and Venues Association, and his day job is Managing Director of Cedar Hotels. And just to let them all introduce themselves a little bit better and in more detail than I've just done, and tell us about themselves a little bit too and their world. Phil, can we start with you?
Hi, Phil Harrison. So I'm the MD of Escapism Bar Group. It's myself and my wife really that have run it now for 15 years. We've got 6 city centre late night cocktail bars, all with different sort of themes and vibes around the cocktail genres. And very much on about escapism and getting together with friends. So as you can imagine, COVID's hit us and the restrictions pretty hard. Our venues really haven't traded properly really for 15 months now. We had a little bit of trade last year, very distance, and then a 10 p.m. curfew, which massively hit us hard really. And we're just getting ready again to go back to opening up the venues for the first time since November, I think it is, indoors and welcoming people back in. So we're excited about that. It's still going to be restrictions in place, but it's going to be somewhere back to some sort of normality. And looking forward to having that other date, another 4 weeks later on, where we can actually get back to what we do best. Enjoy that. So we've been trading outdoor areas for a little bit for the last 4 weeks or so, which has been good. Really good response. It's been amazing to see people coming out showing support with hot water bottles and ponchos. It's just looking forward to getting back to normality, really.
Yeah, I think we're with you, Phil. I mean, you're just a little bit on your venues. They're Merrion Street and Core Lane, aren't they? And got some really great names. And how do you come up with all the different approaches for those bars? Because they're all really, really different, aren't they? I mean, I think my favorite one is the name is reignite Catbar. I mean, who comes up with that? Where did you get that from?
Yeah, that's a Johnny Cash song, and it's a take on a deep south dive bar. There is actually a Mean-Eyed Cat Bar in Austin, Texas, and we're sort of a sister bar to them. We're not related in any way business-wise, but we do share merchandise and ideas between ourselves, and we've very much taken that as inspiration because we just love that. Other places, I've been lucky enough to travel around the world a little bit. And I was in a bar in Atataki, which is in the South Pacific, and there was a bar called Sam's Bar there, where you were drinking all your drinks out of pineapples and coconuts, and out on the beach with all thatched roofs. So we were like, Leeds needs one of these bars. So we wanted to bring that to Leeds, really. So it's all we call the company now because we've got a few bars, so we've had to give ourselves more of a group name so people understand we're all connected and related. And we went for escapism because that's the core sort of defining part behind all of the bars, which make them different. So it could be a prohibition bar, deep south dive bar. So we really tried to make everything very different.
Yeah, great concept, really personal. It's just a pity you couldn't bring some of the sunshine back, I guess. But
Yeah, we'll do our best.
Katie, let's come to you. Cram Plaza, tell us about it.
Yes, so Cram Plaza Leeds, I've been there since 2005, so I've been there quite a while. I've seen it go through quite a few things. Financial crisis, we flooded on Boxing Day 2015, which was horrific. And then I didn't think anything could top that. And then 2020 happened, which was awful for us. And we had a big refurbishment in 2017, and with that we sort of repurposed all of our food and beverage areas. We created bar and kitchen at LSOne, which was a Yorkshire themed local produce made in house concept, and we were starting to make quite good momentum actually with in-house diners and external diners as well, and then obviously we had to close. So the hotel has been open throughout, but only for essential key workers, and throughout the course of the last 12 months we've been closing the restaurant, opening the restaurant, closing the leisure centre, opening the leisure centre. So we're currently only accepting key workers until the 17th of May, of which we can then accept leisure, and also the restaurant can reopen. Up until now it's been only room service only, so it's exciting. It's looking forward to it.
Good. Thanks, Katie. And Wayne, last but not least.
Hello, how are you? Good to see you. So I'm Wayne Topley, and I have two roles. One is my part-time job is MD of Cedar Hotels, which is Yorkshire's largest independent hotel group, and we operate in all the metropolitan districts of Leeds, aka Wakefield, Bradford, Huddersfield, and Harrogate, and we've got 500 bedrooms across our estate. And within that portfolio, we have 11 F&B outlets, which are all very different and all fit for purpose. I am also chairman of Leeds Hotel Association, Leeds and Venues Association, which basically is about 25 hotels and venues that come together to really get the most out of that collaborative working in terms of our campaigns, in terms of recruitment, in terms of marketing, and just sharing knowledge and working together to make sure that we have a bit of a combined voice in that big, scary city that is Leeds.
Thanks, Wayne. I know before we lost you to Harrogate and the other parts of West Yorkshire, you were, of course, manager of the Queen's for a while. So, yeah, know the city really, really well. Well, thanks for joining, and hopefully we can give our listening audience some gems for the next few weeks and months, and excite everybody in the same way that we're all excited about next Monday. I mean, thinking about the experience that you've had and your customers have had since the 12th of April, what does that look like now? And how do you think that's going to translate for Monday, the 17th of May, and indeed the 21st of June as we come back? And what does that mean for staff, really? How has that changed? What preparations are we putting in place? Who wants to take that?
I'll go first. I mean, first of all, if anybody who owns or is operating a food and beverage business is getting a good night's sleep, I want to congratulate them, because they must be of sound constitution and nature, because we used to write business plans in 3-year tranches. Then we used to do budgets in 12-month tranches. Now, I think it's fair to say anybody who's owning and operating a restaurant bar is doing their business plan really in 5-week blocks, which is just unheard of. And every single new map stage on this roadmap, which I have to say I think is fantastic, because we've got the clarity we all asked for. We can argue over the dates, but there's a real kind of step change at each point. Every time you look at one of those, you're opening a new business. You really are, in terms of customer expectations, team expectations, service delivery, being creative. And the most exciting thing is that when anybody has done it well, it's been successful. I think what this COVID roadmap has shown us, don't do it half-hearted. You know, we've seen some people invest lots of time and energy and cash in some great outdoor facilities, and they've reaped the rewards. We've seen some people stick some plastic furniture outside, and it's killed them because it hasn't made any money. The customers haven't been impressed. They've got wet every time it's rained. They've got cold every time it's snowed, and we can't be surprised by that. But the most interesting dynamic is our team, and it's been really tough. It's been really tough, but we are absolutely getting there, in the sense of it's quite a physical job what we do. It's quite a physical and demanding job, and we shouldn't apologise for that, because we employ great, engaging people who are able to balance that physical need with the ability to do it with a smile on their face, and they enjoy it. In fact, they love it. And more team that I've been speaking to are saying how much they've missed it. And absolutely, we've got a kind of a challenging time ahead, because People have all retrained. People have all repurposed their own life. Nobody sat still. Everyone's got their own hopes and desires. But I think I'm really feeling positive about the 17th of May because we've got clarity about what we can deliver and what we can serve. And the pent-up demand that we've seen in the last roadmap has gone crazy. You know, people have come out and they've enjoyed their time, and they have sat there at midnight with snow on the top of their beer, and they have sat there wet through. And Matalan, I mean, I wish I bought shares in Matalan. There are other blanket companies available. But I've been to Matalan probably they know me by name, and they go, Wayne, the new one, the yellow ones are in. Great, thanks ever so much. I think I've bought about 300 blankets in the last 3 weeks, just to try and keep my people alive while they're drinking and eating. People have been really lovely, and I think that's something we need to acknowledge here. People have been really lovely, and I think the majority of them have been really understanding, because it's been even harder. And I think it's going to be great to get our doors open to our restaurants and bars, because it is more pleasant for our customers. It is easier for our teams. We can't deny that. And let's be honest, that's where we spent our money, and that's what we're proud of the most. Some of us have got great outdoor areas, but to get our restaurants and bars open is going to transform our entire business, and we're looking forward to that.
Yeah, and I know you've sort of hired or bought in teepees, haven't you, for outdoors and this kind of thing, which, you know, brings another dimension to it, doesn't it, in terms of how it looks. And Phil, I know Coal Lane and Merrion Street have seen some real change in terms of outdoor thing, you know. I mean, it's looking very different down there. Tell us what the experience has been since 12th of April.
Yeah, I mean, we've had, I've been working closely with Leeds Council, who, pleased to say, have been amazing, to be honest. The work with Mark Durham over on Merrion Street to get through the marquee in time so we could make it a real destination and keep people wet, stop people from getting wet, because everybody wanted to book, and as you can imagine, nobody wants to book for somewhere on a hill with no rain cover on a Saturday night. You're just not going to get any customers booking. So we needed that just to be able to get open, really. And then obviously there's a lot of works going on in Leeds City Centre, and we asked them to reprioritise the works around the Corn Exchange and put Coal Lane ahead of it, really, because there's a lot of independent bars down there that haven't traded for a long time that needed the outside space to get open. And the space outside of Millennium, outside of the Corn Exchange, is obviously going to be a massive focal point and take a long time, but it's not as time critical as it was on Coal Lane, and they were able to do that. So we did have our outside areas larger and back in time for opening. So we've been able to open, which is great. I mean, there's still a big difference. I mean, we've still got a couple of venues that haven't been able to open because they don't have outsiders. And even, say, Coal Lane Social down on Coal Lane with its new outside area, it's still running at 10 times less capacity than it used to be. So it's, you know, so when we said that we're going to, next Monday when it changes over again, it's the capacity is going to go from being really low, you know, about 26 seats to about 260. So it's quite an optional challenge, really, to step that up straight away, really. I mean, and we know it's happening because everybody's booked in. So it's got to go for it, really.
Yeah. And how are your staff responding to that challenge? Because, you know, it must be great that they're coming back and they're buzzing to be back. But to go from, I guess most of them being on furlough, haven't they? So to go from furlough to that kind of demand, you know, is quite a thing, isn't it? Yeah,
it is. It is indeed. Yeah, we've got a really good team now. Been with us quite a long time, most of the team. So yeah, they're itching to get back, really. I mean, they had a taste of it last July anyway, for a good month or so until the 10 p.m. curfew came in. So that we kind of know what to expect. And I think last year was a lot more difficult because literally things were changing by the hour, it seemed. So the whole model was changing. We were constantly buying furniture and having it delivered every 2 minutes. But now we have everything in place, and it's just a matter of bringing it back to normality. But we have all the stages in place for operating that we've done before. Even I think a lot of places might be struggling for staff. I hate to say the word staff because we always say teams, but struggling for team numbers really. Just because obviously, I mean, obviously some companies let lots of people go. We didn't. We looked after everybody. But even then, just 15 months on, lots of people have moved on. Have just naturally relocated or something like that. So even then, we've got to do a recruitment drive and find another. I think we've hired about another 15 people to cover the 6 venues. So it's only a couple in each venue, just to fill the areas. And obviously, it's very labour intensive with the service levels that we've got to provide now.
Yeah, and has that been something you've all seen in terms of staff disappearing, being employed elsewhere? And I guess it's it is time consuming, Phil, as you say, isn't it? And that on top of everything else that you've got to kind of introduce from the 17th of May is just another something to get your head around, I guess. Katie, how has that felt and impacted on you in terms of staff movement and vacancies?
Yeah, massively. I mean, we've gone from running at sort of 10% occupancy, forecasting to be sort of up to the 50s initially, and then ramping up. We're full a lot of dates over, especially from June onwards. There's lots of events happening in Leeds, which is brilliant. And again, I just like what Phil says, Leeds City Council, LeedsBID, this never has this city been more in the spotlight, and I would like to congratulate everybody for that. And we've got so many great events that are driving people to the city that for me and our team now, it's about actually we can't do that day. If you thought of something else and another day, and that's not been something we've had to do for about 15 months. So that's a real different headspace for us. And coupled with, weddings, or everybody's rebooked their weddings. I even had a Christmas party inquiry yesterday for 200 people. It's blowing my mind that what people, and I think like Wayne said, there's just so much pent up demand. Yeah. The challenge is at the minute that the workload is maxing out the team that we do have, whereas it wasn't previously. So it's just a challenge now to get the right people. And again, we unfortunately did have to lose people. It wasn't a nice decision. It was not something that we wanted to do, and it's been distressing for everybody. I think we want to get as many people back in and sort of really shout about the fact that we want to recruit and we want people back in the roles where we can possibly put them. And I think also something else I wanted to say as well, we are doing quite a lot of training for people who have been on furlough for a year, and making them feel comfortable back in the workplace. We're used to working in a COVID environment, but these guys aren't. But it's also about recognising the people who have been on the front line for the last 12 months and have gone in, day out. I've been fortunate to work from home half and half, whereas a lot of the teams have been going in, and they are the frontline key workers. And I think it's getting that balance, isn't it, between recognising those guys, but also making sure the furlough guys feeling supported and comfortable. Because we take it as second nature now.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, you've got a real contrast there, haven't you? People who have been at home, as you say, all this time will be in a very different mindset to those who've been getting on the buses and coming in and travelling, and it has become the new norm, hasn't it? You do get used to it. You do, and you're wearing your mask becomes second nature, doesn't it? In the end, so yeah, I guess it's a new and different challenge, isn't it, as we move towards the 17th. Yeah. But I mean, just one thing I wanted to ask was about your customers, and thinking about those people who've booked, who might be thinking about booking, who are still a bit nervous to book. What can they expect to see? What service can they expect? And how can we reassure them that it's okay to come back? Because I think they're some of the really key messages for customers. Many of them who won't have been in the city centre for a while. We know city centres have been really hit hard in terms of footfall across all sectors, across the country, and Leeds is no exception. We're seeing that coming back now. And even prior to the 17th, we're seeing that lift to about 80% of 2019 levels. So it's really optimistic that once we get leisure and hospitality open again, and that relationship with retail and work re-established, that we'll see that grow again. But there are some people that are still nervous. So, what does that look like? Do bookings remain? How do they expect to stay safe in the venues? What's in place for when they're moving around inside? Let's talk about that for a bit, if we can. Who wants to go?
I don't mind going. Yes, I mean, I think you are going to have a group of people that aren't perhaps going to travel because they do, unless they've had their 2 vaccines. And I think, it's just about engaging with that audience, particularly just still updating them on awareness, on offers, on what's going on, but perhaps realizing that they're not going to travel for another couple of months. However, I do think a lot of people want to travel, and so we've done a lot of reassurance messaging. We've done a lot of videos, so showing them around the hotel so they can know what to expect, so they can see the guys wearing their PPE, they can see the hand wash stations, they can see the track and trace process that we've got. So trying to visualize to them, what to expect when they come into the hotel. But also coupled with that, we've been very flexible with our terms and conditions. So basically sort of saying, listen, if you need to cancel on the day for the day, it's fine. We've got you back. Don't worry about it. Because I think that's another element that people are perhaps worried about booking something for fear of perhaps being stuck with some cancellation charges. So you'll find that most hotels are bending over backwards to be as flexible as possible to help, again, with just that reassurance side of things.
That's a really important message, isn't it? I think for hotels and potential bookings, for sure.
Yeah.
Phil, how's that playing out in your world? I mean, how are you managing bookings versus walk-ins?
Yeah, it's because we're sort of low capacity at the moment. It has very much gone on to bookings, but we do have a thing about walk-ups are very welcome as well, and we do our best to host it. And our managers will be on radios between venues, seeing where we can slot people in whenever we can. But we've got a younger clientele really than most sort of sectors in that. So I think they're a lot more relaxed. But I think they were also very surprised when they came out last summer, July, August time, when they saw the bars open and the sort of the level of effort and professionalism that had gone into the reopening. I think they were, although the hospitality sector kind of got slammed with a lot of sort of closures and things like that, it was they did very much. All the bars that I went into were using the track and trace and social distancing and masks when they were moving around and following every sort of stipulation and regulation that was out there, really. So they were very safe places to be. So we've kind of got the two sides, really. So if people are a little bit cautious, they know that they're a safe environment from what they've heard from last July, and it's got to be very much those sort of same restrictions. But at the same time, we've got a lot of clientele that are completely done with this now and just want to get back to reality. But at the same time, are respectful and mindful that they still, you can't be jumping around and running around without masks on until things change again.
Yeah, and people do certainly seem to be doing that. It has become second nature now, and the retail environment tell us that whilst it was a real difficulty last year, they're seeing kind of over 95% compliance now, and people are much more comfortable with it. Do you get that sense in your venues and your sectors too?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, very much. I think as well, one thing to say is that people are far less nervous this time.
Yeah.
It's quite amazing to see in the last 2 unlocks, people were almost asking permission to come into your business. People almost stepping cautiously, even at the front door of hotels, restaurants and bars. Now people are much more comfortable with the surroundings. I think what's interesting is those businesses that do this properly will be rewarded because people will make their own choices. I certainly I'm on that special category of lists where I isolated and stayed at home for 8 months, and I'm very conscious of the decisions I make about where I eat and where I drink, and therefore I have gone into establishments with a booking and thought these tables are too close. I can't see the right PPE being used. I'm going to go, and I have done. And I think that will come part of the condition. In the same way you'd walk into a clean or a dirty restaurant or bar, it'll now be about these hygiene factors, and people will make their decisions more. So again, I just hope people do it properly, and I hope they see this as not a short-term fix. This is a new condition of business, and if they do, I'm sure they'll be rewarded with consistent custom.
Yeah, I think right, Wayne. I mean, I remember talking about this with you. Oh gosh, as we went into lockdown last year, you know, the whole hygiene factors and cleansing schedules and being really, you know, front facing with that kind of information, and it'll be interesting to see how long that stays with us, won't it? And you know, and when we look at other parts of the world where they have had more experiences of this kind, you know, Asia, etc., then their behaviour, I think, has changed, and it does model itself as, you know, as they hit different circumstances. But yeah, I think that you make an interesting point about people voting with their feet. I think people will be much more likely to do that. Yeah, I think we've become much bolder as customers, perhaps, through this experience. What, you know, what would you like to say to the customers, to your customers? What are the key messages? What do you want them to hear? How do you want them to arrive on Monday? You know, so many people are going to be so excited about this, aren't they?
Yeah, I think for me and for all of our restaurants and bars, it's a really simple message, and that is just, if you wouldn't mind, Mr. Customer or Mrs. Customer, just invest a few minutes and take a look at how we're operating our business, because we've made it very public, and that will give you the assurance that we're going to look after you and we're going to do a great job, and we've really thought this through. I think the second message was kindness, because, you know, it's going to take a little while to our team. I keep referring to it, you know, it's our first time on the dance floor for a long time, and it's going to be a little bit nerve-wracking. And you can almost see, I think it takes about 2 weeks for a team member to get back onto that dance floor at the same pace they were before they left. And you can almost see it. Day one is, my back's hurting. Day two, my legs are hurting. And they start to smile again. So a little bit of patience. But I think more importantly, come back, because we need your support. We're open arms. We're looking forward to welcome you. We're excited to welcome you. We've got some new ideas, some new products, some new ways of doing business, and all of that has been configured with the customer in mind. So come back and try us. And, you know, working at home is a terrible, terrible disease. It's an infliction. It should be banned. It should be barred. And it's not. We're not designed to work in bedrooms. We need to get out. And, you know, an open invitation to anybody. Come and bring your laptop to any of my hotels and have a coffee. And if I see you, I'll buy you a coffee. And if you're unsure, I'll plug your laptop in for you and I'll sanitize it. Just come on out, because it's real life, and it will do your brain no end of good, I promise you.
Yeah. I'm with you, definitely. I've certainly seen enough of my bedroom, my spare bedroom, that's for sure. Can't wait. Katie, anything on that?
I mean, it's completely what Wayne said. I think kindness is key, because the guys are a bit worried about going from having nobody in the restaurant to a full restaurant, so they are really nervous. Kindness, and just, we're ready for you. We can't wait. The guys have went into hospitality to look after people, and they, you know, they want to do what they went in to do it for. So, and we're here when you're ready, I think, is ultimately some of our marketing strap lines. You know, if you're not ready, that's cool. We've got your back. We're here for you.
Yeah, great sentiment. Phil.
Yeah, much of the same, really. I mean, I think it's like absence makes the heart grow fonder.
Yeah.
It works kind of two ways, really, for the customers and for the team. They've just missed it. The camaraderie, they love putting smiles on people's faces, really, and getting out there. But again, we're going to go be 10 times busier than the week before when the reopening happens. So we just need a little bit of patience, and we'll smash it. I'm sure. We've done lots of training sessions, and it's not the great unknown this time around. We're not starting like last July with new apps and new seating arrangements and plans and booking systems. We've done it all before, so we're really confident. But at the same time, if everybody comes out with a little bit of extra kindness in their heart, they'll have an extra special night.
Yeah. I love those. Great ones there. And I do think people are different. I do think people have behaved differently, and I really hope we keep some of that, you know. I mean, I have no desire ever to go and queue at a bar again to buy a drink. I really don't want to do it, you know. No. Table service all the way. 100%. I mean, do you think those kinds of things will stick? Well, Phil, I mean, that's the question for you, really, isn't it? But, you know, in your...
I think everything will stay. I think all the booking things will stay. I just think they won't be used as much. I think the order and pay apps will stay, They won't be used as much. And we're going to bring in a new system as well, which is like a third way to order for the people that hate the apps but don't want to stand at the bar. And that's like a new advanced system called Pin on Glass, which is, it's very much you order with your server, but they take the payment, and it's very, very slick and done. So in effect, they're doing the app for you. But then you don't have to get up and go to the bar at the same time. But yeah, you're still getting the personal service of your drinks order being taken for you.
Yeah, and I think, you know, so many people have said over the last few weeks to me that Leeds feels so much more European, so much more continental, ironically, you know, given we are where we are. But, you know, and it's about outdoor cafes, and it's about that seated, you know, experience, isn't it? It's about table service and not standing at the bar, and it feels very different. And who knew that we could sit outside in cafes in winter with blankets on us? Of course we can. The Norwegians do it all the time. But, you know, it was always a thing that stopped us doing more of it here, I think. So it's great to see that that's happening. And I hope all this stays, because it's made such a difference to the feel of the place. So, right, my next challenge for you then is, what about challenges? What are the difficult bits? What are the things? How can your community support you as a business going forward? You know, the reality is, you know, the optimism's there, the pent-up demand's there. You're not, you know, until we get to the 21st of June, actually nobody's making any money really, are they? Because you've still not got your venues full. You've still got social distancing. Lots of loans taken out. You know, that's the reality of the sector. So how do we keep this going? How do we sustain this initial enthusiasm and rush back for the longer term, which is, you know, it's going to take a year or two or more probably, isn't it, for these businesses to kind of get back on their feet? What are the key things, Phil?
Like you say, yeah. I mean, I think it is going to take a couple of years for everybody to get back re-established and pay off all the debt they've accrued over the last 15 months or so. I suppose it's a little bit of unknown, isn't it? How things will go, especially with just speaking about our venues. Really, that pre-COVID, we were, I'd say, somewhere in the realms of 80% of our revenue taken at post 10 p.m. So you can imagine. I don't think people go out much past midnight these days. So it's going to take a little bit of time before people get back into that sort of mindset again. But I mean, we've shifted a lot, and you know, we've been busy from noon every day. So we've gone from being a late night venues to being, you know, successful daytime venues as well. So it's just something that we've got to keep adapting to, really. I mean, there might not be any more, and hopefully no big more landmarks once everything's opened up, but there will be just subtle sort of changes in how people act and respond, and you know, social changes that things happen, really. I mean, I'm still not too sure about if the universities are coming back and things like that. We're not very student-led, but they definitely add a good proportion to our customer base anyway. Yeah. I
think they're certainly back to face-to-face teaching from Monday. So, you know, hopefully, I do think a lot of them are back in the city, but hopefully the ones who aren't will drift back now. But yes, key point, students, isn't it? But and I think, you know, as you say, that ability to change and need to change and adapt and morph and move. I think we've all done it, haven't we, over this last 12, 18 months? And actually we're doing it almost instinctively now without even really thinking about it. Back to Wayne's point at the beginning about writing 3-year business plans. You know, I came from a place where we were writing 10-year business plans, you know, long time ago. But I mean, you just rip that up and put it in the bin now, wouldn't you? You kind of, you know, we're almost flying by the seat of our pants all the time, aren't we? But that's not necessarily a bad thing either, is it? And I think as consumers, I think we've become more forgiving around that agenda, and we expect change, we expect movement. And so it's not so much of a an affront or a problem anymore, is it? Because, you know, we've all had our worlds turned upside down. Wayne?
Yeah, in the question of, you know, what do we want? I don't think we want anything. I think we just want to get back to some degree of normal.
Yeah.
And I think exactly as Phil said, we've all repurposed, we've all re-challenged, we've all rethought this through. And the reality is the new normal isn't there. It isn't there. There isn't the old normal. It is going to be a different way of working. You know, we've got this unique challenge where we've got so many different businesses now than we had, you know, before the 20th of March, 2020. We've got to decide what to do with them. You know, we didn't do a single takeaway product in a hotel. We now have 9 brands that we operate out of the 4 hotels, and they're taking around £7,000 or £8,000 a week, which is a brand new revenue stream. But we've got to make a decision, because can we have it all? Can we do it all? Does it make sense? Will our customers still want that come Monday when all these great restaurants and bars reopen their doors again? I have no idea what's going to happen, and that's the fun part. There definitely will be some people who want to take away, but is it going to be the significant business that we've got now? You know, we've had hotels that have been care homes. It's just gone all over the place. So I think, what do we want? We want to see people back in our business, and we want to make sure that these people are looked after, whatever they come from. If it's a leisure stay, a business stay, co-working space, you know, a cheeseburger, let's get it right, and let's ensure they understand that we're here to look after everybody. And we're here, and we will continue to react. Whatever happens, we all believe this is a new dawn, and I hope it is. But if it isn't, then we'll react again. We're not going anywhere, and we're here to stay, and we've shown we can do it. So I think it's just about having really good communication with all of our customer groups and understanding what they want, and giving us a little bit of time to bring our team along the line with that. I think that's what we need. We just need a bit kind of really great communication from both ways as we try hard to communicate with our customers. And if we can achieve that, then it's going to be a lot better. I think we have to say that let's run a campaign to say 8 o'clock on a Saturday is not that fun anymore. 6 o'clock on a Tuesday is much better for you. You have much more fun. You have much more bigger tables, and the chips will be warmer and the beer will be colder. Yeah, I think the Tuesday at 6 o'clock is the new Saturday at 8 o'clock. I think we want our customers to be creative about their social lives as they have been about their work lives.
Sounds good.
Yeah, that's the idea. That's what we want.
I think you've definitely got a different demographic for sure who will pick up on that, won't you? You know, maybe a demographic we've been missing in the city, actually. You know,
Karen, if I can just say, I think we need to just continue to collaborate together, like we have been doing through this awful time, just to the sole purpose of just pushing what an amazing city it is, and what there's so much to do. And a lot of our strategies and our marketing campaigns has been around encouraging people to have 3 or 4 nights with us, whereas traditionally they might have come for 1 or 2. Where we're finding some honeypot locations like York, you know, Harrogate are stacked. We're sort of seeing this overflow, and with that, then they may only eat with us for 1 night. So we accept that. So let's promote all the other great food and beverage restaurants that are available, so that they come to Leeds and they spend with all of us. I think we all just need to keep pushing and promoting each other, and you know, we'll continue to do that for as long as we need to.
Yeah, I think that's a really great point, because we can't survive without each other, can we?
No, absolutely. We want them to go into Leeds. I would love them to eat with us every night, but that's not going to happen, and we accept that. So let's just make sure. You know, I sent a guest today a load of restaurants and bars just to say, look, you know, look at what you've got. You know, I think that's what we need to do. Just work together. Yeah,
I applaud that, and I think that's a perfect note to wrap up on, actually. So give us a go. Kindness is key. We're here when you're ready. We've missed you.
Yeah.
Come and try us out.
And Wayne's buying you a coffee.
And Wayne's buying you a coffee, yeah. You know,
Coffee's on me. Come on, kettle's on.
You know, I don't think you can get a better offer than that, really. But we'd really not like them to go to Huddersfield and Harrogate. We'd like them to come to Leeds, first of all. Yeah. Okay, all right. Well, listen, guys, that's been really fun. Thank you. I've really enjoyed it. I hope you have too. And I hope we've given people at home something to think about. So thank you, and take care. Have a great day.
Bye.
Great. Thanks everyone. Cheers. Bye-bye.